Coast-to-coast chaos, 140 million facing turbulent travel as a record bomb cyclone, more than a foot of snow and tornadoes strike. Whiteout conditions on the road causing accidents. 2 troopers hit. And power knocked out at a major airport overnight. This as those dangerous storms move east. Ginger tracking the very latest. And the question this morning, will those Thanksgiving parade balloons fly?
Breaking overnight, multiple explosions rocking a chemical plant in Texas. Blowing doors off nearby homes, forcing mandatory evacuations.
Caught on camera. The stunning video showing a school bus driver buying a beer and drinking it behind the wheel.
An ABC News exclusive. Lucky to be alive. The champion rock climber trying to make history when she slips on El Capitan. The famous free solo star who helped save her now joins us only on GMA this morning.
It's on. The Black Friday doorbuster deals dropping early just hours from now. From TVs to tech, the savings to score before it's too late.
And Duke defied. Overnight, the #1 team in the country shut down by their unranked opponents. The last-second breakaway that snapped their 150-game winning streak.
Live in Times Square, this is Good Morning America.
Good morning, America. Excited about that. Well, I mean, what a play. You heard the excitement in the voice of the announcer. #1 Duke defeated by unranked Stephen F. Austin. Wow.
The Lumberjacks. They came to play.
Yes, they did.
Mm-hmm. Right. We're going to be talking about that later in the show. But first, we're going to begin with that holiday travel chaos. Take a look at this, guys. The highway overnight in Los Angeles, that is bumper to bumper traffic as the record Thanksgiving rush gets underway. Looks like Christmas lights there.
I'll be honest with you, living there, it looks like every day. See the difference.
But those nasty storms are causing problems coast to coast. Take a look. Accidents on the roads. That's Colorado. Snow coming down also in Minneapolis right now. And that's where Alex Perez starts us off this morning. Good morning, Alex.
Hey, good morning, Robin. When we went to bed last night, there was no snow on the ground, but take a look at all of this now. Once it started, we started getting about 2 inches of this stuff an hour. Mother Nature is not taking a holiday, creating problems across the country. Overnight in California, massive wind gusts are ripping this roof off a building in Crescent City, scattering debris everywhere. Meanwhile, in the south, at least 4 tornadoes reported, one destroying this mobile home park in Louisiana. This garage door ripped right off. Scattered wooden debris and remains of furniture littered across the ground. This tree yanked right from its roots. Throughout the country, winter's fury causing chaos on the roads as snow, rain, and fierce winds combine to form treacherous driving conditions. In Utah, this trooper, seen here on a police dash cam, assisting a crash scene when suddenly another vehicle comes crashing towards him after losing control on the icy road. The trooper hopping a barrier to avoid the collision. In Nebraska, icy roadways leading the semi-truck to lose control, flipping onto its side, while an SUV slipped into a ditch on the side of the road. And at least a foot of snow in parts of Minnesota forced cars off the road. And as you can see, this wind just blowing all of this snow around. There is some good news for the Minneapolis area. This is a fast-moving storm expected to be out of the area by this afternoon. Michael?
All right, thank you, Alex. Some dangerous conditions out there right now. And that triple storm threat is on the move. And Ginger had the very latest on the path and how the timing will affect your travel. Good morning, Ginger.
Good morning, Michael. You know it's bad when the map looks like this behind me and you're about to have the epic travel day ahead. Los Angeles, Tucson, not getting out of it this year. Utah, all the way over to Iowa, Wisconsin, Nashville, and western, say Pittsburgh, western Pennsylvania, you're ending up with wind alerts. Let me detail it and track it for you so you know what to expect where you are. We were just talking about Minneapolis. That's out of there by the afternoon, but with more than 7 inches in some places. Chicago could gust to 60 miles per hour throughout today. You know that's going to impact flights at O'Hare. So expect travel delays even with the 20 to 40 mile per hour gusts that make it too Thanksgiving Day itself here in the Northeast. We're going to be watching that. I'll be at the Philly Parade, and very breezy, if not downright windy. Then look at this. Storm number 2 came on shore last night, potentially making history because this thing bombed out. It dropped so quickly in pressure that we could see an all-time record low pressure in California. That's unbelievable. 34-foot waves were recorded, 106-mile-per-hour winds. And let me take you through where this is going to go next and why I'm concerned this morning. Santa Barbara already seeing a quarter-inch or more of rainfall rates. You've got burn scars there. You're going to have mudslides. You're going to end up on the Grapevine, turning that into snow. Interstate 5 is closed already in parts of Northern California, so the West Coast doesn't get away from it. In Cecilia, by Friday, Oklahoma City to Dallas, along I-35 could see severe storms.
Boy, tough all over the country. Okay, Ginger, thank you. The storms are creating a travel nightmare during what is expected to be a record-breaking holiday air travel. Hundreds of flights already canceled in Colorado, and overnight, that power outage at Oakland Airport causing delays there. Take a live look at all of the planes in the air right now. A lot of them out there. David Curley is at George Bush Intercontinental Airport in Houston with the latest on all this. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Cecilia. You can kind of feel the buzz coming on the last half hour. It's getting busy here at the airport. As for that Oakland issue overnight with the power outage, it's back on. A handful of flights canceled there. But already this morning, we have nearly 100 flights canceled in the United States. And with that weather threat, there's a very good possibility that that number could go up. But here in Houston, we're watching them fuel this aircraft behind us. They're going to have about 50,000 people come through here in Houston just today. And look at the numbers over the next couple of days. Today will be near record territory, a little less than 3 million. It gets quiet, then Saturday it picks up again. Sunday is the real concern, not just for weather, but for the airlines and the airports. They're talking about 3.1 million passengers flying. That would be an all-time U.S. record. One airline official, Cecilia, told me it could be a meat grinder on Sunday.
Could be. Sounds like it definitely will be. But David, you were telling us that there's some new technology out there that airports are using that could save passengers some time.
That's why I'm here in Houston, actually, is United says it's come up with something that can save time for passengers. That means money for the airline. You know, here on the ramp, it's the airline that controls the aircraft, and they usually do that from a tower. There's a tower about a mile away from me, but there's nobody in it. They are actually in a windowless room. It's got a camera, a 14 array camera. You're looking at it right there, a live picture inside the virtual ramp tower. It's a windowless room, just technology, just cameras that give them what they call these digital windows where they can look out into the two areas that they control. And that's what's been saving them some streamlining and saving them the money, is putting all their folks in the same place. And this technology only allows infrared, so they can see jets in bad weather. And you know, the old times used to use binoculars in a regular tower. You can actually use the binoculars on the monitors. That's how good they are. New technology coming to these ramps that they say will save time for you, the passenger, getting in and out of your gates. Let's just hope that helps this Thanksgiving as well, Cecilia.
Every minute counts. Okay, David, thanks so much for that.
The technology for that shot that we just had.
Amazing.
And honestly, I was a little scared when he said, that's why I'm on the tarmac. I thought to save time, they're going to have you load your own bag. I was like, no!
Could happen. Don't give them any ideas.
No. As we know, the storms are also leading to dangerous driving conditions, just as tens of millions of people head out for the holiday. According to AAA, the worst cities for driving are expected to be New York, Los Angeles, Atlanta, Boston, and there in Houston, where traffic will be at its peak by up to 3.5 times worse than usual. WABC chopper reporter John Del Giorno is high above New York with how things look right now. So how's it looking, John? Good morning.
Robin, you're looking at the George Washington Bridge here, part of that busy I-95 corridor that connects Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York, and Boston. The Port Authority of New York and New Jersey estimates that 3.4 million vehicles will cross the bridges and tunnels between New York and New Jersey in the next 5 days. To give you an idea, that's about 30% of the volume for the entire month. AAA says the worst time to travel along this I-95 corridor, again, those big cities, basically any time between 3 o'clock this afternoon through 7 o'clock this evening. I'm going to say you'll begin to see that volume uptick anytime after lunch, about 1 o'clock. All bets are off. And we've got a reminder here, you know, Wednesday night before Thanksgiving is a big social night. Lots of people catching up with friends and family, We see a lot of impaired drivers on the road. A reminder, be extra careful out on the roadways tonight. Robin?
That's a great reminder. Thank you, John, for joining us. Appreciate it. Michael?
And Robin, as we've heard, the strong winds from those storms could also affect the Thanksgiving parade here in New York City. If the gusts get too fierce, those balloons will be grounded. Gio Benitez is along the parade route here in New York with more. Good morning, Gio.
Hey, Michael, good morning to you. Yeah, those balloons are going to be brought to this spot later today, but as you said, it's just not clear if they're going to fly at all. And that's because these giant balloons cannot fly if sustained winds exceed 23 miles per hour or if those gusts are stronger than 34 miles per hour. There is a chance they may be grounded. Now, we saw the dangers of high winds during the parade back in 1997. That iconic Cat in the Hat balloon got caught up in the wind gust. It blew into a lamppost, injuring 4 people. One woman was in a coma for a month. So it's very, very serious. So the NYPD, they're going to be out here with special wind devices, and they're going to be making what they call a game day decision right before the parade, whether to fly the balloons or how high they will fly. Michael?
I know a lot of people are looking forward to the balloons, but are better safe than sorry, Gio. Thank you so much. Robin?
You're right about that, Michael. Now to that breaking news in Texas. Multiple explosions rocking a chemical plant, blowing out doors on nearby homes, forcing mandatory evacuations. Marcus Moore has the latest for us. Good morning, Marcus.
Well, Robin, good morning. That mandatory evacuation still in effect this morning for the area immediately around the explosion site as that fire continues to burn.
Overnight, a massive explosion at this chemical plant in Port Neches, Texas, lighting up the night sky, causing neighborhood evacuations, and powerful enough to blow out windows of homes several miles away.
My dining room ceiling crashing down.
The plant, which is located about an hour and a half from Houston, produces chemical and petroleum-based products and has 125 employees.
I hope that everybody inside the plant is okay. Right now, that's a big concern.
The first call was received at 1 o'clock this morning.
We're pretty much in bed, but it came in 2 waves. The first one we heard, you saw the light flash. I mean, you saw the light and you felt the house rattle, and it sounded like a thunder in the distance. But about a second or two later, the like a shock wave sort of hit the house, and in my house, it was pretty loud. It was very loud. Mainly because the front door blew in and the door frame blew out.
Mike Tobias works for the local school. He was ordered to evacuate.
So at that point, I thought the house was coming down. And the first instinct was grab the kids. We needed to get out of the house.
And 3 workers suffered injuries, and this morning it's still unclear what caused that explosion and fire. Cecilia?
Frightening scene there. Okay, Marcus, thank you. We're going to go to Washington now, where Democrats announced their first public impeachment hearing set to take place just days from now. And this as President Trump, in a new interview, is now trying to distance himself from his personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani. Mary Bruce is at the White House with the very latest on all of this. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, Cecilia. Well, Rudy Giuliani and his campaign to pressure Ukraine have been at the center of this impeachment inquiry, and the president has been standing by him, calling Giuliani a great corruption fighter. But now the president says he doesn't know what Giuliani was doing in Ukraine, and he didn't send him there on his behalf. This morning, President Trump is trying to distance himself from his personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, telling Bill O'Reilly he didn't know what Giuliani was up to in Ukraine.
What was Rudy Giuliani doing in Ukraine on your behalf?
Well, you have to ask that to Rudy, but Rudy, I don't even know.
So you didn't direct him to go to Ukraine and do anything or put any heat on him?
No, I didn't direct him, but he is a warrior. Rudy's a warrior.
But the president himself repeatedly mentioned Giuliani in the July phone call that sparked this impeachment inquiry, telling the Ukrainian president to talk with Giuliani. According to the rough White House transcript, Trump said, "Mr. Giuliani is a highly respected man, and I would like him to call you. Rudy very much knows what's happening, and he is a very capable guy. If you could speak to him, that would be great." The president's point man in Ukraine, the EU ambassador Gordon Sondland, told Congress if they wanted to get anything done in Ukraine, they had to, quote, talk to Rudy.
I followed the directions of the president. We worked with Mr. Giuliani because the president directed us to do so.
Giuliani has laughed off suggestions that the president will try to make him the fall guy for Ukraine.
I've seen things written like, he's going to throw me under the bus. Right. When they say that, I say, he isn't, but I have insurance.
And overnight, a New York Times report raising new questions about what the president knew when he lifted the hold on nearly $400 million in military aid to Ukraine. The paper reports Trump had already been briefed on the whistleblower report accusing him of wrongdoing when he decided to release the funding. But it's unclear how much detail the president knew about the complaint. Now, this all comes as the impeachment inquiry is entering the next phase. The Judiciary Committee has now announced its first public hearing for next Wednesday. And Cecilia, unlike the previous hearings, this time the president and his lawyers have the right to attend. We have just heard back from the White House, and this morning they say the president is considering his options.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that one. Mary, in the meantime, we're learning that 2 White House budget officials, career officials, resigned over this controversy to freeze aid on Ukraine.
Yeah, a career budget employee testified to congressional investigators that 2 officials resigned in part over their concerns about this freeze on that critical military aid to Ukraine, and that they were very frustrated with not understanding why that aid was being withheld. Cecilia.
Okay, Mary Bruce at the White House this morning. Thank you. Michael?
All right, thank you, Cecilia. Now to that stunning surveillance video. A school bus driver arrested after she appears to drink beer while driving her morning route. Diane Macedo has the story.
This morning, outrage after police say a school bus driver was caught on camera drinking from a beer can on her morning route. Authorities in Aurora, Illinois say this new surveillance video shows the driver buying beer at a local convenience store.
An observant convenience store clerk called East Aurora School District 131 and told them they just sold beer to a woman and then watched her get onto a school bus and drive away.
Back on the bus, authorities say the driver, 44-year-old Michelle Pasley, put the beer in a paper bag and started drinking from behind the wheel, all while picking up elementary school children.
It's absolutely brazen. We have an absolute zero tolerance for this when you place children in danger.
None of the 32 children on board were harmed. Pasley was fired from the bus company and then arrested.
Michelle Pasley was arrested and charged with 2 Class A misdemeanors of endangering the life and health of a child.
This comes just 2 weeks after another school bus driver in Oregon was taken into custody. That driver lost control of the bus with 10 children on board, slamming into a ditch.
I am so sorry.
He was arrested and given a citation for driving under the influence of a controlled substance.
Now, back in Aurora, Pasley was released on a $100 bond. She's due in court in December, but so many people grateful that that store clerk saw something and said something.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's so key. Wow. All right. Thank you, Diane. We're going to turn now to that stunning upset in college hoops. Top-seeded Duke going for the win. Clock winding down in OT against unranked Stephen F. Austin. But they lost the ball. And going the other way, the Lumberjacks, that's Nathan Bain at the buzzer. At the buzzer, beating the #1 team in the country. First time the Blue Devils have lost at home to a non-conference team since 2000. It's a 150-game winning streak. Snap. That's why you play the game.
That's right.
You never know.
It's a good game. We are following a lot of other news this morning. Next, that incredible survival story. A champion climber trying to make history, then losing her grip on El Capitan. Now the famous climber who helped rescue her is joining us right here.
And how to score the best Black Friday deals that are dropping just hours from now, we'll tell you. But first, let's go back to Ginger.
I told you about that storm that looks like a hurricane on the satellite that made its way onshore last night. Well, it will also bring 1 to 3 feet of mountain snow. I didn't get that part out, so I wanted to make sure. And by the end of the weekend, when everybody's going home, another one coming for the West Coast. Your local weather in 30 seconds. First, the rainy cities, sponsored by Allstate.
I'm your mother-in-law, and I like to question your every move, like this left turn.
It's the next one.
You always drive this slow.
How did you make someone I love?
That must be why you're always so late.
I do not speed, and that's saving me cash with DriveWise.
Yeah, my son, he did say that you were the safe option.
And that's the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
So get Allstate.
Stop bossing.
Where good drivers save 40% for avoiding mayhem like me. It's my son's favorite color. You should try it. You always drive like an old lady.
You're an old lady.
Well, today's going to be a great day to do some of those last-minute errands. It's going to be a mild day, but a little wet with some scattered light showers prior to noon. Temperature will top out about 61 degrees at 3 p.m. and even some sunshine coming our way today, but it's going to turn very blustery. And early tomorrow morning, our winds could be topping out around 40 miles per hour. Windy conditions for Thanksgiving. Another storm system moves in late Saturday and Sunday. That one looking like rain and much colder for the upcoming weekend.
Many of you are heading out for the holiday. We want you to stay safe. We'll be right back.
So, you want to get creative with your oatmeal.
First, you need whole grain Quaker oats. Then add some Solid Choice. Perhaps a dash of, daring.